What if everything you were taught about Thanksgiving was a story crafted to sell? Magazines, unify a nation, and smooth over centuries of violence. What if that warm image of Pilgrims and Native Americans sharing turkey by a cozy hearth is less history and more advertising copy? Welcome to the complete history of Thanksgiving, a documentary. A not quite 15-minute animated deep dive that peels back the myths, examines the messy facts, and challenges the comfortable story we tell ourselves every November. Over the next 15 minutes, we'll reconstruct the real 1621 gathering, follow the holiday's disappearance and reinvention, trace how editors and presidents turned it into a national narrative, and expose the modern machine that turns gratitude into profit. Expect primary source quotes, surprising statistics, and voices too often left out of the conversation. This isn't a lecture. It's a narrative investigation designed for animation. Clear visuals, consistent character design, and cinematic pacing so you can see history come alive. Stick with us. By the end, you'll understand why Thanksgiving is both a treasured ritual and a manufactured tradition, and why that distinction matters. The first Thanksgiving is one of America's foundational myths. The story most of us know: Pilgrims suffering through a brutal first winter, helped by friendly Native Americans, culminating in a harmonious 3-day feast. It's a tidy parable about cooperation and gratitude. The real picture is messier. In September 1621, the Plymouth colonists did host a multi-day harvest celebration. Edward Winslow and William Bradford recorded the event, but their accounts are fragmentary and biased. The invitees included roughly 90 Wampanoag people led by Massasoit. They did bring game, likely venison, and the colonists brought fowl and fish. Archaeology and ecological history tell us the menus were seasonal and regional: waterfowl, shellfish, corn porridge, and cured meats. No modern stuffing, no sugar-laden cranberry sauce, no standardized pumpkin pie. Many staple foods we imagine were either unavailable or luxury imports. More importantly, this event did not occur in a vacuum of goodwill. The preceding year saw theft, hunger, and coercion. Colonists scavenged native grave goods, raided caches, and captured individuals for labor and leverage. The balance of power between newcomers and the Wampanoag was fraught. Alliances were strategic, not sentimental. The 1621 gathering was partly diplomatic, a reciprocal exchange meant to secure peace and survival, not a postcard-perfect meal of mutual friendship. Over the next decades, the veneer of cooperation would erode. European diseases, land pressures, and colonial expansion devastated indigenous populations. Within half a century, conflicts like the Pequot and later King Philip's War would transform regional relations into open warfare. Yet the sanitized myth persisted. School books, paintings, and public ceremonies repackaged 1621 into a moral fable that erased coercion and resistance. As we look at art, sermonizing, and political rhetoric from subsequent centuries, we see a deliberate shaping of memory, one that serves a national narrative rather than the messy, contested truth. After 1621, Thanksgiving as a regular national observance effectively vanished. For Puritans in New England, days of Thanksgiving were sporadic proclamations, religiously framed, austere, and often centered on repentance rather than feasting. Their theology preferred private gratitude and piety over public celebration. Across the colonies, practices varied widely. Some towns declared days of fasting and prayer, others observed harvest festivals, and still others ignored the concept entirely. This fragmentation persisted through the 17th and 18th centuries. Regional diversity mattered. The agrarian South had different seasonal rhythms and social structures than New England. Indigenous communities continued their own ceremonies, disconnected from colonial calendars. Economic disruptions, wars, and church politics meant that there was no single, lasting Thanksgiving tradition. Instead, what existed were periodic proclamations tied to military victories, bountiful harvests, or natural disasters, not an annual family holiday. The lost centuries set the stage for a 19th century reinvention, because the absence of an entrenched tradition left cultural ground open for reinvention by powerful voices. Enter Sarah Josepha Hale, editor, writer, and relentless cultural architect. As editor of Godey's Ladies Book, Hale reached hundreds of thousands of readers and wielded enormous influence over domestic culture in antebellum America. Beginning in 1827, she campaigned for a national Thanksgiving, not to restore a historical festival, but to create a unifying, domestic-focused holiday that reinforced middle-class values and her vision of civilized womanhood. Hale's campaign unfolded in essays, editorials, and a famously persistent letter-writing campaign to state governors and to President Abraham Lincoln. She framed Thanksgiving as a feminine-led domestic ritual that could soften political divisions and cultivate virtue. Hale also curated the imagery. She popularized the menu, turkey as centerpiece, home decorations, and family-centered rituals. Her vision fused sentimentality with consumer culture, the idealized home that could be showcased in magazines and then reproduced in real life through purchases. In 1863, during the bloodiest year of the Civil War, Hale's efforts bore fruit. Abraham Lincoln issued a proclamation designating a national day of Thanksgiving in November. Lincoln's motives were complex. The proclamation sought to comfort a grieving nation, legitimize moral authority in a time of crisis, and cultivate a sense of shared national identity. It was both pastoral balm and political strategy. Lincoln cited prayer and gratitude, but he also recognized solidarity as a tool for national cohesion. Lincoln's proclamation transformed a regional observance into a national ritual, but it didn't rehabilitate the 1621 myth so much as repurpose it. Hale and later popularizers smoothed history into a narrative that supported unity and domestic patriotism. This period constructed the traditional Thanksgiving, family reunions, roundtable meals, and a sentimentalized past, all amplified by magazines, lithographs, and later, seasonal advertisements. If this deep dive is changing how you see Thanksgiving, subscribe now and hit the bell. We're only getting started. Share this with someone who still believes the holiday is an unbroken, ancient tradition. The next chapters dig into how politics and profit rewired the celebration. 1030. The 20th century accelerated Thanksgiving's transformation. In 1939, President Franklin D. Roosevelt shifted the official date of Thanksgiving 1 week earlier to extend the shopping season and stimulate the economy during the Depression. The decision sparked a cultural backlash and earned the nickname Franksgiving. States were split. Some refused to comply. The controversy exposed Thanksgiving's growing role in commerce. The holiday was no longer solely a civic or religious observance. It had become an economic lever. World War II temporarily shifted priorities, but peacetime prosperity returned corporate America to the Thanksgiving table with a vengeance. Food manufacturers, department stores, and advertisers began packaging products as traditional Thanksgiving essentials. Canned goods, processed turkeys, and sugar-laden sauces were marketed as convenient ways to replicate the idealized holiday spread. Television further standardized ritual. Comedy shows and variety programs presented neat family meals, normalized suburban tables, and sold viewers not only products but an emotional aspiration. Advertising didn't simply reflect tradition, it created it. Companies invented packaging, recipes, and rituals that fit the sentimental image cultivated since Hale's day. Retail calendars and promotional cycles embedded Thanksgiving as the anchor for holiday marketing. Once commerce took root, every subsequent innovation, televised parades, celebrity cooks, and corporate sponsorships, layered new expectations onto the holiday experience. By the 1990s and into the 21st century, Thanksgiving was no longer just a holiday. It was a hinge for consumer culture. The rise of Black Friday transformed the day after Thanksgiving into a retail spectacle, with doorbuster deals, loss leader pricing, and aggressive promotion. Retailers learned to exploit urgency and scarcity, turning consumers into early morning bargain hunters. In the 2000s, many stores opened on Thanksgiving Day itself, a practice that forced retail workers to choose between family time and employment. Labor advocates and customers pushed back, citing worker rights and the hollowing out of holiday meaning. The numbers are striking. Americans consume roughly 280 million turkeys each year, with vast portions processed by industrial agribusinesses. Commodity concentration means a handful of companies supply most of the market. The result is scale, lower prices, and significant environmental and animal welfare costs. Food-related spending around Thanksgiving exceeds $4 billion. The average family spends far more on shopping and travel than on the meal itself when you factor in Black Friday and holiday gifting. Social media added a new dimension. Thanksgiving became performative. Instagram and TikTok turned table settings, recipes, and gratitude posts into content. Families increasingly curate aesthetic presentations, often prioritizing clicks and likes over the experience. Influencers monetize traditions, and brands sponsor seasonal content that appears genuinely homegrown. The holiday's emotional authenticity is frequently mediated through commodified displays. Meanwhile, indigenous perspectives have grown louder. National Day of Mourning observances, protests, and educational movements have reframed Thanksgiving as a commemoration of colonization and loss. Activists and scholars emphasize that the holiday's celebratory framing erases centuries of dispossession, forced assimilation, and violence experienced by Native communities. These voices challenge the conventional cheer and urge us to reckon with historical truth. The COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 offered a stark experiment. With travel restricted and gatherings scaled back, traditional rituals were interrupted. Many people discovered that their Thanksgiving experience relied heavily on external structures: air travel, dining out, mall crowds, and mass-produced recipes. The interruption created space for reimagining the holiday. Smaller gatherings, ritual reinvention, and a renewed focus on local community and mutual aid. The pandemic exposed both the resilience of personal gratitude and the fragility of a holiday increasingly tied to commerce. If this documentary is opening your eyes, like and share to spread the conversation. Subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss the final chapter. We'll close with practical ways to reclaim Thanksgiving from corporate scripts and dishonored histories. 1600 to 1730. So what is Thanksgiving really? It's a layered cultural artifact, part genuine human impulse to gather and give thanks, part manufactured tradition shaped by editors, presidents, advertisers, and corporations. From a fluid 1621 event to a Puritan practice to Sarah Josepha Hale's campaign and Lincoln's proclamation, the holiday was repeatedly reinvented to serve political, social, and economic ends. That doesn't render Thanksgiving meaningless. The value lies in human connection. But the crucial lesson is awareness. When we understand how traditions are constructed, we gain the power to choose which elements to keep, alter, or discard. We can prioritize meals made together, rather than mass-produced centerpieces. We can center indigenous perspectives in teaching and remembrance. We can focus on community care instead of consumption. Alternatives abound. Community potlucks that feature indigenous and local voices, donation drives, or reflective gatherings that pair gratitude with restitution and learning. History is complicated, and Thanksgiving is a mirror of that complexity. It can be a force for empathy and reunification, but it can also be a symptom of commodification and historical amnesia. Knowing the story in full, the good, the ugly, and the manufactured, allows us to celebrate more honestly and responsibly. If this documentary changed how you think about Thanksgiving, subscribe for more investigative histories and animated deep dives. Check the video description for sources, reading recommendations, and AI-generated visuals credits to recreate this experience. Share this video with your family before Thanksgiving. Ask them to watch it together and discuss. Tell us in the comments, will you change your traditions, and how? Thanks for watching The Complete History of Thanksgiving, a documentary. Remember, gratitude is powerful, but informed gratitude is transformative.